It went. I don't know. Broadcast is live.
We are going live. Hello, welcome to Integrity Live. Today we are talking to David and Kate Tickle. It's good to have you both on the show today. How are you both doing?
Great.
We're good, thanks, Robert. How are you?
Not bad, thanks. Not bad. Not a bad day. Not so sunny, not so wet, but it's okay. Indoors, we're good. So,
April showers here.
they keep saying showers, but we're okay at the moment. So, fingers crossed. We're both indoors, so it doesn't matter. All indoors. Well, I've looked you both up, and you both led incredibly interesting lives, and you're still living interesting lives, even with COVID, what's going on. So, could you tell the viewers a little bit about yourselves, please? Either one of you can start.
Okay. Well, I'm an actress and a model and a bass player. I do a bit of everything. That's how my life's been. I'm a bit all over the place, but I seem to like it like that. So I've played bass with the Beach Boys.
Wow.
Michael Winner, the fabulous film director of the Death Wish movies.
Absolutely,
and,
yeah.
Cover girl for different magazines. And all sorts, really. What about you, David?
Well, you work with me too.
I've worked with my darling husband.
That's how I found her, watching Kate TV on Instagram and bass playing. And I thought, oh, wow, there's a really good bass player. And she looks great. And she's female. Very rare to find female bass players.
Absolutely, yes.
And I was looking for a bass player at the time. So for an act I was working with in Hollywood. And I reached out to Kate. And anyway, there's more story to that. But as far as I'm a record producer or a producer, because I do a lot of documentary stuff, film stuff, soundtracks. Primarily, all music based is the main thing that I've endeavored in. I started as an engineer and worked with some really great producers and just found bands and developed and took them into studios when I wasn't supposed to, when the owners went home and ended up making records and they became hits, and all of a sudden you get hired if you have a hit. But they don't always give you a job at first to go say, oh yeah, here's a job, go make a hit. You kind of have to do it under the radar to start with.
Yeah. Isn't that what Queen did with their first album, wasn't it?
I think so. Like 7 Seas of Rye, and that was their first real album, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Queen.
Yeah.
I'm a huge. I go to Freddie's house every year on his anniversary of his death, sadly, and put a flower outside his house.
Oh.
I've done every year since it's happened. Yeah. So
fantastic.
One of my heroes, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Brian May's one of the nicest guys in the industry.
He is.
I've heard this, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very strange about John Deacon, though, that he's just gone completely away from music and people seeing, etc. Very strange. Yeah. He's just disappeared. Yeah.
Guess it affects everybody differently.
Sorry?
I guess it affects everybody differently.
Yeah, it does.
Well, being on the road for half your life, it's like, to be able to say, oh, I've actually made it now. Now I can just be wherever he is, a country gentleman or an astronaut. Who knows what he is, right?
Yeah, that's right. True. Yeah. So can you name some of the artists you've been involved with, David? Because there's some big names there, isn't there?
It's like, where do you start? But yeah, I mean, I started when I was 17. I worked for Ringo, and that was a privilege. Running his studio, I came out the box early as an engineer. I guess because I'd always been interested in it, so it's been a hobby since I was like 4 years old. I had my first tape machine and all that stuff. So by the time I was 16, I was ready to go into a studio and sweep floors. But I became a tape hop and progressed from there to become an engineer within a year. Worked for Ringo. But then I went on to work with Mike Chapman in the States, and did The Knack, my Sharona.
One of my great singles.
Yeah, I came in on the Heart of Glass record, and mixed. Actually, Parallel Lines is the album, but I mixed the Heart of Glass and a couple of other songs off the record, and then did the Beat to the Beat album with Blondie, with Mike. And at the time, also there was Pat Benatar and Nick Gilder with Hot Child in the City, Exile with Kiss You All Over. We had 7 #1 hits in a year. Well, Mike was the producer, but that was phenomenal. That's in the States. Yeah, and then, anyway, I've worked with people like Prince, U2, Peter Gabriel I worked with for a year, which was amazing. Genesis I did quite a bit of work with. And the Police I've done several things with, and Sting Records, mainly mixing, not producing in that capacity. The Divinyls, I Touch Myself, that was a good record to make. The Four Non Blondes, that was an extraordinary record, and it's become very iconic, that What's Up record. In fact, when that was released, it took a while for it to break in the States. They almost gave up, actually.
Really?
Yeah, the guy at the record company at Interscope, who was head of radio, he really believed in the record so much. He said, don't drop it, it's going to break. And it took like 7 months for pushing it. I mean, an enormous amount of time. And when it broke, then it went #1 in 17 countries worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I went on YouTube
really
the other
bizarre.
day. It's had so many hits, that song. It's amazing.
It's just an amazing song. Great vocals on it. It's brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, that's one of the things I've always gravitated to work with acts where the vocalist is really distinctive. That's why working with Joe Cocker or Rod Stewart, to Sting, Bono, Linda Carlisle, they've all got very distinctive voices. It's a key element for me.
I'm a big fan of Sting. I think nearly every CD he's done. He's really brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
He's great. He's great.
And Kate playing bass for the Beach Boys. How did that come about?
Yeah, I once worked at Heathrow. I was one of the models. 5 models were chosen to be these air steward for all the commercial advertising at Heathrow, the new Terminal 5 years ago. So I'm there, stood there modelling and airside, and one of the Beach Boys walks past, and we just started chatting and had a good chat, and they were getting a flight back to America. And what did I say? I just said, they told me they're the Beach Boys. I told them that I'm musical, and they were coming up to play in Sheffield at Sheffield Town Hall. So they said, well, why don't you come upstairs to the lounge? So I popped up to the lounge, and wait for my shift to finish, and I'll pop up and see you all. And then Mike Love asked me to play with them at Sheffield Town Hall back in 2008.
Wow.
We've all been friends ever since. And then when they did the Royal Albert Hall in, I think it was 2017, they asked me to get up on stage with them and play guitar. I play bass, but I did guitar for the Barbara Ann song at the Albert Hall. And our boy Danny, who was about 6 at the time, he came up on stage as well and watched. It was great.
Oh wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
they're great.
Another good vocalist there. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
What did you say?
It's because it's a delay. Unfortunately, it's when we think one of the person's finished speaking, the other one interrupts. Apologise for that. I was just saying, Mike Love, what a great voice he has as well.
Amazing. They're so talented musically, and Scott Totten is their concert director. Right. And everything works like clockwise. Musically, they're brilliant, but they're all about family. They're one of those bands that'll just be always remembered for the music, obviously, and the harmonies, but the way they are is they love family. They're just wonderful.
Yeah,
it's
good,
such an innocent vibe, you know. It's great.
good California.
Yeah.
They are the Beach Boys.
Yeah,
Right, from the
absolutely.
beach, you know. I know.
Yeah.
Well, one of the concerts I was asked to go and see, and I wasn't too keen to go. I love his music, but my mate's wife had an accident. I went instead. It was to go and see Prince in concert. The concert was absolutely brilliant. And then I saw the Gold Experience show after, which was brilliant. You got involved with Prince quite a bit, didn't you, David? Can you tell us a bit about that and what was he like?
Yeah, well, Prince, first of all, Prince, God bless him, the most talented artist I've ever worked with, all around.
Wow.
And because he could play anything, he could dance, he could design his clothes. I mean, he was amazing. But I was working with Peter Gabriel, and this is back in '83, and I was doing front of house sound for Peter's world tour. And Prince came to one of the shows because the reason I work with Peter is well, I really love Peter, but he wanted someone that knew how to mix records to do live sound as opposed to just a live person. And so I had studio technology on the road with us, so I could get a very, very detailed, specific sound. Prince came to the show, heard the sound, and was so blown away with it. He said, "I got to get that guy, whoever is doing that sound." And there was one song in particular that startled Prince, which was a song of Peter's called "I Am the Intruder," which had very heavy gated bass drum and snare. When I say gated, that's to people out there that may not understand, is there's a reverb that is very long and then we cut it very short with a gate, an electronic gate. So it goes, it's very kind of electronic, disturbing sound in this particular song. Anyway, that night he went home, and with that influence, he wrote "When Doves Cry." So
Wow.
yeah. So then he told Stephen Fagnoli, he said, "Whoever's doing the sound, I want to work with that guy." It took him a little while, but eventually they found me. I was actually working for Genesis in their studio at the time, and they found me. And Stephen said, "Prince really wants to work with you." And I said, "Oh, God, I've been a Prince fan since his first record. I truly had been." And he said, "Anyway, he wants to work with you. When can you come and meet him?" And I said, "What time's the next flight?" and literally, I was on the plane the next day to Minneapolis. And that's when he was working on the Purple Rain, the movie, the sound stuff, the whole thing, the record. And that's where I started with Prince. And first thing I did was he just basically was finishing the movie, finishing the record, and then we prepared to do the Purple Rain tour. So I did all the live sound for the front house sound for the Purple Rain tour. At the same time, we were constantly recording. So Prince said, "David, wherever whatever city we're in, I always want you to have a studio ready to go." Well, some places didn't have great studios, so I always had a mobile truck with me as well. So we recorded around the world in a day during the tour, as well as Sheila E.'s Romance 1600 album, while we were actually on the tour. And anyway, I went on with Prince and to do like 6 various projects with him: the Parade album, Under a Cherry Moon, and I was in charge of anything to do production-wise for Prince, with from any live shows. When he did on the Purple Rain thing, we actually were in Los Angeles and we did the American Music Awards, we did the Grammys, and we also did the Oscars. He played live at all 3. I had my own truck outside and fed like CBS TV or whoever it was. I mixed everything live. It wasn't tapes. I did everything live.
Whoa.
And then I went on to design Paisley Park for him. I wasn't the architect. It was the ergonomics and what rooms were needed and the big sound stage and all of that kind of stuff. So it was amazing. After 3 years of that, though, it was like he never slept, and it was like I felt burned out. I said, I just can't do anymore. I need to take a break. So, but I mean, it was amazing.
He truly was a brilliant artist. Very, very sadly missed. Great writer as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick word with Kate then. Now, in the past, I think you've been a beauty queen as well, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah. And you do a bit of modelling. I believe you're Integrity's Model of the Month for August as well. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm so honoured, and it's a privilege.
Are we pleased to have
you in Integrity magazine in August, Model of the Month? That's great, and I can't wait for that. And I've done a lot of modelling since the age of 12, and then when I reached 17, I did Top Gear, the car show, and then
really?
I joined the Miss England platform and did all the beauty pageants, which was great fun. I think it's a great opportunity for young girls to really get out there, meet new people, teaches them all the social skills, and then you make a lot of lovely friends. So it's lovely.
Well, that's good.
And ever since, it's all I've ever known, really, that acting and music. So we're both really creative, aren't we?
Absolutely.
In that sense.
Yeah.
Not that you know about the beauty pageants, but
I love this.
Oh, you must be invited, David.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's great.
That's good. Well, I'm actually friends of Miss Stockport at the moment. She's a really good girl, and she tells some great stories, etc. So that's always nice.
It was great. It was great fun. I obviously did that when I was younger, but it's fun. Stockport's not far from us, is it?
No,
it's about
20 miles or so.
Yeah.
Deborah Griffiths is her name. She's a lovely girl, really nice girl. You mentioned earlier about Michael Winner. Now, I've actually been outside his house and outside Jimmy Page's house.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page, and I got to meet Jimmy at Scarlett's Photograph exhibition in Camden.
Amazing.
You know them both very well, so can you tell us a little bit about that as well? That's quite interesting.
Yeah, I used to live with Michael Winner and his fiancée Geraldine on Melbury Road in Holland Park, and obviously next door was Jimmy in his tower house, and we're really good friends to this day. His home is amazing inside, and he's just a wonderful person. Whenever I'd finish at the house and go shopping and finish my shift there, I'd be sleeping upstairs in the bedroom, but I'd head out to the shops and I'd always bump into Jimmy, and we'd chat for ages, and he's very down to earth. And working for Michael was probably one of the most amazing experiences. He taught me so much about the industry. I acted in all his Esure car insurance commercials, and he just gave me a great insight to what it's all about, really. He was a really hard worker. He'd be up at his desk at 6 a.m. with his light on every morning.
Wow.
Really great guy, though.
I mean, Death Wish was one of my favourite films because of the meaning of it at the time. I think a lot of people see it now and don't understand what it meant then with the muggings, etc., and how a vigilante did that, and it was really clever. And obviously, Jimmy did the music for the second film, didn't he?
Exactly, and I think it was the first set of vigilante movies that inspired all the rest of them to kick off. I think it was a very good, raw kind of filming style and gritty, but it made it really good and really popular. And obviously with Charles Bronson in there, you've got quite a good mix.
Perfectly cast.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So, David, what other music do you like? And what do you like listening to at the moment, David? What's in your sphere at the moment?
Oh, gosh, we play
if
all
you're like
sorts.
me, it's quite a wide range anyway.
Very eclectic. My taste.
It really is. I mean, God, it's like that. It's so difficult. Yesterday, I heard Paul Weller's new release.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I think it's BBC Two Record of the Week, and I thought, wow, like considering where he came from with the whole punk scene. I mean, it's very like his voice sounds amazing. It's obvious. It's deeper and richer now. I thought it was really, really good. So I was, well surprised with. I love the production. I love the horns in it and everything. It was really cool. But I like a lot of popular stuff, like the Johannes Brothers. I love a lot of what they put out.
Is it Johannes?
Jonas.
I like that. Your Highness.
It depends whether I'm listening to a German radio station.
That's true.
I mean, it's like there's just a, I used to not very care for Justin Bieber, but recently he's been putting out things that I go, who is that? And I go, oh my God. With Ed Sheeran, I love that song that they did together.
Yeah, that's good. Very good song.
Yeah. So, it's like, I just like really good. I like really good music. It's like, rather than like particular stars that I go for, I really go for like, that makes me feel good, because that's the kind of music I like to make myself. And if I hear something, I go, wow, I wish I'd done that. And it's like that. So there's a lot of music out there that is really inspiring.
And are you like me? Because I like I was telling Kate earlier, I've been brought up on music. My mum and dad brought me up on country and western, then it was rock, and I liked soul, and I liked things like, all kinds of like easy listening, etc. But then suddenly you discover a song that you haven't heard for either ages or not before, and you think, wow, this is amazing. Like Electric Trains by Squeeze and Split Ends. What a great song that was. Amazing. I think you was involved with that, wasn't you, actually?
Yep. Yeah. I know. The funny thing is, it's like when you work on an album, it's so much passion goes into it, and it literally is like a lot of the records, like a 12-hour days. If it's Prince, it's 24-hour days. It's like, I mean, like nuts. But you put so much energy into it, and it may be a 6-week record, it may be a 3-month record. At the end of it, you're absolutely exhausted. It comes out, and you're really happy to see people love it. And like the amount of records I've not heard since the day I made them is like unbelievable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like, well, you're on to the next one. So it's like you don't want to listen to the last one and think, well, what did I do there? One day it's going to be a nice surprise. In fact, in the last couple of days, I just got all my records, like record collection for years and years and years, out of storage. They're in the house here, LPs. Oh, wow. And I can hardly wait to actually listen and go, wow, who did that? I did that? Really? Because I know there's going to be like, how did I do that?
It's so funny though. There's so many of them, and I was really excited about them coming into the house. But how fun! And then it's like, oh my God, there's more.
Well, that's the gold and platinum.
There's too many.
It's funny.
Yeah, roughly how many gold and platinum discs have you got, David?
It's over 30. So about.
Wow.
I lost count somewhere.
I'll send you a video of them in a bit.
Oh well, that'd be nice to see. Yeah. I've only ever handled one gold disc, and that was nice. My friend Stray, they got a gold disc for their album Madanzas. I'm friends with Dale, the lead guitarist and singer, and I've sort of held his gold disc. That was quite nice. But to have 30 of them, wow. It'd be nice to have them all on the wall, all set up and that, etc.
Yeah. I mean, there's so there's a that's the thing. Like Kate said, well, where'd you put all of these? And so I never really put them up, because it's like, what do you do with them? I don't want to dazzle people when they come.
No, I
to
said
the house.
He's so humble. I said to him, we've got to get these around your studio door because it's amazing.
I've got to get a bigger door then.
But the wall.
You have to build an extension just for the gold discs. So what have you got coming up anyway? Can you tell us of anything? Because obviously COVID-19 has put a stop to a lot of people's projects, etc., as you can imagine, as you know as well. What have you got coming up? Can you tell us any projects you've got in the pipeline?
Yeah, well, there's a young girl that I've been working with and developing, Alicia. And you can check her out. Alicia.live is her website.
She's amazing.
But she is really fantastic. She's just 18 now. She's 18 now,
Yeah.
isn't she? Yeah, and she went to music school, so she's done a degree in music as well. But her voice, as I said, I always go for the voice. She writes her own songs, which is fantastic. But her voice, she's as unique as an Amy Winehouse, but not quite. She's not Amy Winehouse, and her music is like that kind of tone, but with some of Sade's kind of maturity. I don't know how to put it across. That sensuality is just different. She's really, really, really cool. So she's up and coming. We're developing her. She's doing great with the records that we've recorded and she's put out so far. I've got a friend of mine, Sasha Scarbeck, who is a writer who actually did quite a bit of work with Amy Winehouse on her record. He's sending me bits and pieces of music with that, and then I take them with Alicia, and then we expand them and write bridges and build upon that.
Yeah.
But she's definitely an artist to look out for. And then Kate and I, we love to write music, and we're also developing a few different kind of TV documentary ideas, because I love to edit and film, and then Kate loves to present.
David's also got an exciting project he can't talk about at the moment, but I'm excited. No. And then so we'll have to do another interview and talk about it.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
When we can, we're not allowed.
No, it's fine. That's no problem. I could talk all day to you two about music, because that's my passion. So we could be on here for hours. Quick, one last question, then I'm going to let you go. Obviously, we're called Integrity, and once again, thank you for being the model of the month for August, Kate. Looking forward to that. We're called Integrity. What does integrity mean to you both?
David?
Integrity, that's a word I would use for myself when I'm producing music, is keep it honest, keep it truthful. If you have integrity with what you do, it will last, because it's a backbone of how you approach something with integrity. That way, no one can blow holes in it. If you stay within your own power and your own process, that you really believe in what you're doing and you really own it, you've got integrity.
Absolutely. You both agree with that, yes?
I agree. If you can live your life with that vibe, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you both for giving up your time today. It really has been a pleasure. And like I said earlier, all day with you two guys, because this is my passion and my love. And our pleasure. It's fantastic. When you do mention your project up and running that you can't talk about, we will do another interview, and you can give us some information about that as well.
Absolutely. That's going to be fun.
Both look after yourselves, keep well, and keep up with the great music, etc. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All the best. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.